I don't know whether it's just me or whether you feel the same, but I think these past 12 months, electric cars seem to have taken a bit of a bashing in the mainstream media. Now, a few weeks ago, I was a little bit bored and I was flicking through YouTube, as you do, and I stumbled across a video of a chap who was hell-bent on telling us how rubbish EVs are and driving them long distances just don't work. And to prove his point, he was driving a Porsche Taycan from Leeds to London, which is not a particularly long journey in my book. But anyway, I watched his video and all it seemed to really say to me is that he was complaining about the food that he was having to eat on this journey and how busy London was for traffic. I sort of wanted to redress the balance. I sort of wanted to give you sort of like the other side of the coin. So what I thought I'd do is I would diarise my journey from Scotland, from my mum's house in Scotland, back down to my house in Egham in Surrey. Now that's a distance of round about 340 miles. Now I regularly do this trip in EVs, and if you're a regular viewer of AutoEV, you might have seen the fact that we do road test a lot of the cars up in Scotland. But I've never actually diarised the journey, you know, been there, taken you with me when I've stopped to charge and how long it's actually taken me and such like. So I thought, well, why not do it? I'm up there, I may as well do this on the way back. Now I could have gone and booked myself something like a Mercedes-Benz EQS, which would have probably done the journey in one charge. Or I could have used a Tesla, because obviously they've got the Tesla supercharging network. But I thought, no, let's do this properly. So I used this, which is my Renault Megane E-Tech, which doesn't do the mileage that Renault claim that it does. So how stressful can it be? Time to find out. Welcome to this week's extra Christmas episode. Welcome to my journey from Scotland to England in the new Renault Megane E-Tech. And as always, welcome to AutoEV. Now, before you settle down to enjoy this journey, if you will, it is of course that time where I tell you to make sure that you are subscribed to the AutoEV channel. Then once you've done that, make sure you press the little bell button down below, because then that way you'll be notified if our next video is uploaded and has gone live. Once you've watched it, if you have enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave me your comments down below. Do you regularly partake in long trips in your electric vehicle? Are you concerned about buying an electric vehicle because you regularly do long journeys and you want to know what it was like? Let me have your thoughts and questions down below. Anyway, you will join me one morning at the beginning of December in Lockerbie. Right, leaving a little bit later than anticipated. So I just brought my mum back, dropped her at her house. So I'm just going to leave Lockerbie now. The car's now saying, this is the thing, I don't know if you've watched my long-term introduction to the Megane. A bit disappointed with the range that it predicts, but then it changes as it kind of goes down the road. So it's now saying 93%, so it's used 7-8% in the last, I don't know, 8 miles, which seems like a lot to me. And the range has dropped to 161 miles. Okay, right, so the journey, what are we doing? Right, so Lockerbie to Egham. So it's saying 336 miles. It should take me, without charging, 5.5 hours. So that's a non-stop drive. That would be non-stop. And as I said to you, if I was in my Jeep Grand Cherokee, taking a 45-minute stop into account for maybe a spot of lunch at a service station or something, what does that add on? So that's 6.25 hours. Plus allow for maybe, I don't know, a little bit of hold up of traffic, maybe 15-20 minutes. So yeah, it's usually 6.5 hours is probably a sort of like a respectable journey time in that sense. Temperature 3 degrees, so it's popped up a degree. Now the route I can plan, you've got various different ways you can do this. So the one nice thing with the Megane is it uses a Google operating system, so it uses Google Maps as its sat nav, and I really like that. Polestar do the same. And I like Google Maps. I think it's a really good sort of like navigation system. But a lot of people I know will use Waze and things. But you could also use something like a better route planner, because there are a couple of apps that you can use to plan out your journeys, and they'll program in charging stops. You put your car in that you're using, and it gives you quite an accurate kind of prediction of where you should be. Now Rod has used that. My colleague Rod has used that because we've done a trip like this before when he took our last long-term test car, the Cupra Born. He went from Chichester to Dusseldorf in Germany. I don't think Dusseldorf's the most, glamorous of places. But then neither's Egham. There you go. So, or Lockerbie. So there we are. So I'm not going to talk to you. Oh, risk of collision. Why is it saying risk of collision? What am I doing? Nothing. Rather than talk to you all the way down, which obviously would be a very, very boring episode, I'm going to switch off and you will join me much further down the road, but you'll join me when I get to my first charging stop. But just for a little bit of a synopsis of where we are. It's 8 minutes past 10 in the morning. It's 3 degrees, and this is me just passing Lockerbie. For those of you who do want to know, and I don't want to be morbid, but I'm just past the site of their disaster, which I unfortunately, not witnessed, but I lived close by with that night and lost some school friends in. So, much respect. 35 years this year. There we go. Not to be morbid about it. But there we are. Right, you'll join me further down the road and I'll bring you up to speed with how we're getting on. Where are we? Right, we're just coming across the top of Shap now, which Shap Summit's coming up, which is one of the highest passes in England. And it's obviously the top of it's sort of like Lake District area. How are we doing? Right, the stupid thing is I forgot to set the trip meter on the car, and I should have taken a notage of the mileage that I've done so far. But anyway, I've done, I don't know, so let me think, Lockerbie to Carlisle is round about 30 miles, to Penrith another 20, 50 just south of Penrith. So I'm probably on about 60 miles that I've done. Car is showing 91 miles of range and 54% battery. I'm currently doing 74 miles an hour. I've set the cruise control at that. Don't know whether I should admit that on a video or not. The car is currently doing 3.1. Well, it's varying actually. It's around just around about 3. Let's call it 3 miles to the kilowatt hour. It's all right, I suppose. I expect maybe a little bit better. It's very pretty up here. I had a lot of snow here at the weekend. I just made it past in some respects on Saturday, before the M6 became quite very, very snowy, in other words. But yeah, coming up to T-Bay services. I'm not going to stop here because I've still got plenty of battery left. I'm going to head down to my first charge stop, which is in the South Lakes. So you'll join me there. All right, everyone. I just dropped into Lancashire now, southbound on the M6, and I'm just about to come off and do my first charge. Now, I don't really need to charge here. I've got 40% battery left. The car's telling me I've still got 75 miles to go. But as we know, it fluctuates, obviously, depending, obviously, on the sort of speed I'm going at, and I suppose weather conditions and all sorts of things. I've kept the cruise control on, so I've kept my average speed up. The car's sort of like fluctuating, depending, obviously, on what it's, where the road's going, whether it's uphill or downhill. But it seems to be kind of round about the 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, there's a very, very simple reason why I'm coming off and doing this this one here. This is the Porsche Centre South Lakes. I always stop here for various reasons. First of all, you can use these chargers if you have a Porsche, or if I think it might be through Ionity, but also as well if you have Shell Recharge, which is what I have. So I have a Shell Recharge card and I can use these chargers. They're really powerful ones. I think they're 300 or 350 kilowatt chargers. So they're really ultra rapid chargers. And I've always been using these ones coming up, purely because of the speed of them. And I was going to say the reliability of them, but one of them isn't working, or it certainly wasn't working the other day, and it wasn't working the day I came up. There's two of them, and they're out with the actual dealership itself. So if you're coming in here, you know, out of their office hours, you can still use these chargers because they're actually on the public side of their security barriers, which is excellent. And you just use your RFID card from a Shell Recharge. So I'm going to pop in. Also, the other reason I like coming here is they're just bloody nice people. Every time I go in, they stand and chat to me, and I get a cup of coffee. Right, there's a car charging, so I have a funny feeling it's using the one that was working. Let me see if I can get the one that wasn't working and see if it is now working. If not, I'm going to have to wait. So I'll talk to you in a minute or two. Right, success. This one is actually working now because it wasn't working the other day. I've been up here for 13 minutes now. It's delivered 12 kilowatt hours. If you've got a Shell Recharge card like one of these, you can use these Porsche chargers. And what's nice about here up at the South Lakes Porsche Centre is the two chargers, the public ones, are actually on the outside of the security barriers. So if you're using them at night or over the weekend when the dealership's closed, you can still get access to them. Plus as well, it's probably the nicest car dealership I've ever been in my life. The staff are so pleasant and so friendly. If you're ever looking to buy a Porsche in the UK, these are the guys I would recommend you buy it from because they've been superb every time I've been up here. Anyway, I'm going to go inside and see if I can grab a coffee off them, and then I'll be on my way very soon. So there we go, 35 minutes I've been here and it's gone up to 86%, which is more than enough that I need. So all I need to do now is stop charge. There we go, and that's just stopping. Please wait, and it'll just ask me to disconnect from the car. There we go, job done. I really cannot recommend this Porsche dealership enough. If you're in the UK and thinking about buying a Porsche, you need to buy it from these guys. Porsche Centre South Lakes, family run business. South Lakes, just off the M6. The M6 is over there, stunning view over there, and the nicest staff in the world. Right, it's 12 o'clock, back on the road. I will be discussing pricing, but we'll do that later on at the end of the video once I've kind of collated all of them, because some I get invoiced for, some I pay directly. So we'll talk about that when we get to the end of the video. But anyway, let's head back down south. Oh. Problem is, when you get a dealership that's as nice as that, hang on, I'll start the car, that'll make matters helpful. The problem is, when you go into a place that's genuinely as nice as that, you spend more time there. I go in there, I'm standing there chatting and gassing, and the coffee's fantastic. Right. Yes, as I say, we'll discuss pricing and things later in the video, because as I say, some stuff I get invoiced for, some you pay kind of on the road, and that does depend obviously on what you want to do, whether or not you contactless payment is so much easier. You get some places. Now, my next planned stop is going to be Stafford. There's a big bank of Ionity places at Stafford, and Ionity chargers, sorry, at Stafford, and there's a Starbucks there where I'll probably go in and have a sandwich. So that's lunchtime, I should get down there. So again, look, I appreciate this is going to take longer than, as I say, if I'd just been blasting down in my Jeep. I'd be half an hour ahead if I was in my Jeep. But then, as I say, I'd be stopping later on to have a coffee and a sandwich anyway. So once we sort of get back down to London area, it'll be interesting to see what the actual time difference really is, because, as I say, you stop and have a sandwich anyway. and while you're stopping to have your lunch, the car's charging. So to me that just kind of makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to stick some music back on, which means I'm going to have to go now, because otherwise we'll get thingies for copyright, and I will catch up with you later. Alright folks, so now I've arrived at my second charging stop, which is Stafford North, just off the A34. So the M6 motorway is just about, I don't know, half a mile that way, so you just come off and pull in here. I got in here, there's an AutoEV bank, there's 6 chargers here, 2 of them were free, I didn't have to wait, pulled straight in. I've got the app for AutoEV, so I just make a direct payment off my credit card and that's it. It's currently, I got here with 30% left, which was just under 60 miles of range. So I could have gone further, but I want to stop here because I know it. And as I say, the quick charger, so I know I don't have to stop for long. It's currently already at 42% after 6 minutes. So by the time I've set the camera up and got ready, it's at 42%. I wanted to show you the drive in, but unfortunately my GoPro's run out of battery, so I need to change the battery in it. But yeah, easy as this. There's a Starbucks here. I'm just going to go and have a coffee and a sandwich. What time did I leave Lockerbie this morning at? So that was 10 past 10 I left Lockerbie, and it's 1:45 now. So just over 3.5 hours to get down here. I don't think I'm doing too badly actually. Yeah, time for a coffee and a sandwich. See you later. One thing I haven't quite mentioned yet in this journey is the fact that while the car's charging, I can keep an eye on it with the app. So I've got the My Renault app on my phone. Obviously I can't show you it because I'm using the phone to record this with. But I can use the My Renault app. So while I'm sitting here having my lovely coffee and my sandwich, I know how much charge the car has, and I can stop and start charging from the app as well, plus the AutoEV app. So yeah, it's pretty stress-free really so far. You know, as I say, I've been on the road for 3 and a bit hours, and you know, got a little bit to go, but I feel fresh. The traffic's been kind. I've been sitting at 70 miles an hour with my coffee in hand and my Spotify on. Yeah, not exactly stressed, am I? Let's be honest. That coffee's not bad either for Starbucks. Right, 35 minutes later, I've had 36 kilowatts delivered. 35.69 kilowatts delivered. It's currently charging at 36 kilowatts, but I'm at 85%. That's what I need to get to my next stop. So that's going to be well over 100 miles range left on the car. And again, I could go further down, but I know where my next stop's going to be. I'm going to be stopping at the Instavolt hub at Banbury, because again, it's fast chargers. There's never a problem getting a charge there, and that's on the M40. Now, I've changed the GoPro camera because I want you to understand that I haven't driven miles off the motorway to get to this place. So you'll follow me as I go out onto the M6 again. But yeah, I'm ready to get on the go. I've had a coffee, a sandwich. As I say, 36 minutes. Coffee, sandwich, pee, ready to go. Let's go. I'm just so I've not long left Stafford, Stafford North, the AutoEV bank. the AutoEV chargers at the Stafford North junction, and I am now. Oh, hang on, just coming into a 50 mile an hour speed limit. Let me just slow down. Oh, sugar. I'm at the M6 toll. I mean, it's literally minutes. I'm on the M6 toll. Now, the M6 toll, I use this all the time when I'm coming up and down, because it just avoids a really crap bit of Birmingham, to be honest with you. I think this is a much clearer road. You got to watch, obviously. It's, you know, it's not a free for all. It's not an autobahn. But you know, you just stick the cruise control on. Now it costs, I don't know what it costs now actually, $5.75, something like that. So that's an additional cost, but I'm not factoring that in because I'd been using this whether or not I was using an EV or not. But again, it takes away the stress. I don't have to sit in all that heavy traffic going down round Birmingham. It tells me in the signs that it's clear. 13 miles till the toll plaza, and then you basically then got about, I think it's 7 or 8 miles to the top of the M40, and that's it. It's dead simple. I don't know what this guy's going on about, why he gets so stressed. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a little rundown of the car. So, I don't know if you've watched my introduction to my long-term Megane. I hope you have. If you haven't, go and watch it after this. This is a really nice car. So as I say, it'd have been very easy for me to have booked, like a Mercedes-Benz EQS or something like that, that's capable of doing the whole journey in one charge. But this is my everyday car, and not all of us have the ability to spend 100 and whatever it is, £1,000 on a top of the range Mercedes EQS. This is 37.5 grand, this car, so not cheap. I'm not going to try and trivialise it. It's not a cheap car. But what it is a really nice car. It's a 5-door family hatchback. It's very quiet, it's very refined. It's sitting here at sort of like 70 miles an hour with the cruise control on. I've got my aircon on at 20 degrees. I don't need my heated seat now. The outside temperature's up at 7 degrees. I've got my wireless wireless Apple CarPlay, so I'm sitting listening to my Spotify. I've got the map in front of me here. I've got a really nice big armrest where I can sit back and just be relaxed. The seats are really good in this car. The one thing I will say about this Megane, the seats, they first of all look quite flat when you first get in the car or you first see it, but now having done, hang on, what have I done in this car now, total miles, hang on, wait to get my trip computer, 1,755 miles in this car over the last month. I can tell you now, the seats are superb. The only car that's got better seats than this that I think really that I've done this trip in is like the likes of the BMW i7 and the Polestar. They're very good. But yeah, I'm just not stressed. I'm really not. It's, what time is it? 2:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, so 10:10 I left my mum's house. 12:10, 2:10, 4 hours 20 minutes, and I'm nearly at Birmingham. And for 2 charges, 2 half-hour charges. I think the whole journey is going to be done with an hour and a half of charging, and it's how I predicted it right at the start. That's probably 45 minutes longer than it would take me as if I'd say brought my Jeep, because I'm going to stop somewhere for a coffee and a sandwich and a pay. That just you just do. That's just, I'm of an age now where I can't drive 6 hours non-stop. I just can't. I can't do it, and I don't think people should do it. That's the one thing that I will say about driving an EV in a long distance. It does force you to take regular breaks, and by doing that, what that then does is make it a much nicer journey, because you just don't get stressed out. I'm not blatting down here at 80 odd mile an hour, it's like risking my license. I'm sitting with the cruise control at 70 miles an hour, listening to my music, just feeling quite kind of chilled out. And I'm still going to be home in time for dinner, to have dinner with my daughter tonight. I'm still going to be home in time to sit and have dinner with her. So actually, I think, there's an element of what you have to do is you just have to sort of it forces you to change your driving, I think, EVs, in a good way, because as I say, you feel less stressed, you feel less pent up that you've got to get somewhere, things, that you plan your journey, you're going to be doing this. Now, all right, I've been quite lucky, sort of like touch wood with these 2 charging stops. The first charger, which I thought wasn't going to be working, so I thought I'd have to wait for the other one. Although in fairness, the guy was there less than 10 minutes when I had to leave. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. He was there for less than 10 minutes before I had to leave. But the other one was working, so that's fine. I got to the Ionity station. I've been to that Ionity bit literally every time this year on my way back. It's probably 8 visits this year, I think that's been. I've waited once for a charger, and when I say I've waited again 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most. So you could do it in less than 3 charges with this car. I could probably do it in 2, probably. But again, why stress myself out, and why get home with next to nothing on it? I don't have a wall box at home, so I'm going to have to go out tomorrow and charge the car anyway. So actually, this works out really well for me. 3 charges, half an hour each, and I'm home. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to start listening to Steve Winwood again, and I'll talk to you when I get down to Instavolt at Banbury. So yeah, so I've arrived at Banbury, I've arrived at the big Instavolt hub at Banbury. I had 41% left battery, which was 70 odd miles. Potentially I could have done it. I could have got home if I'd really pushed my luck in the car, but I don't feel that I want to. And as I say, I could have gone all the way down to the bottom of the M40 and gone to the Ionity chargers at Beaconsfield Services, but there's only 6 there and they're usually quite busy. Whereas here, there's, what is there? There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 32 chargers here that you can get access to. I've never come here and had a problem. So yeah, so I've got half an hour here to take it up to 80% if I really wanted to, which is more than enough to get home, and then probably enough for doing my bits and pieces tomorrow in. So in terms of time, what is it? Well, I've just been stood talking to a guy from BYD, funnily enough, the press guy from BYD. It is now 3:45 in the afternoon. I've been on the road since just after 10 o'clock this morning, so that's, yeah, so it's coming up for 6 hours. And as I say, already I've been stopped for an hour with another half hour to go if I really want to. So it's not bad really, is it? Anyway, as I say, you'll probably catch up with me when I get home later. Right, I'm at 80%. I've got 140 miles of charge, and I don't need anywhere close to that. But I ended up standing talking to Mark from BYD. He's the marketing manager and press guy from BYD. So we ended up standing chatting to him for ages. It's downside with running EVs. You bump into people that you know, or they all want to come over and chat about your car or whatever, and you do end up spending a bit longer than possible. So 10 past 4. So that is 6 hours since I left 6 hours since I left Lockerbie. But that's an hour and a half charging. So, because it's been 30 minutes I've been here, so 6 hours, hour and a half charging, that's 4.5 hours, and I've got probably an hour's drive ahead of me to get home with the M25's kind. So yeah, five and a bit hours drive, 5 hours driving. That's been it. So actually to do the trip, I mean, I'll catch up with you when I'm down home, but it's been no different. And as I say, I could really have done it in 2 if I really pushed my luck, but I didn't want to. Anyway, I'm going to stop gassing now and get back on the road. Alright, how's today been? Well look, it's 7.5 hours from Lockerbie to my house in Surrey, 340 something miles, and an hour and a half of that was charging. And as I said to you before, in fairness, I probably did overcharge in the sense of that I probably could have got away with 2 charges, but I just thought, why stress myself out? Now, let's play devil's advocate here. If I'd taken a turbo diesel Jeep Grand Cherokee, I probably would have stopped for 45 minutes, which would have included maybe a fuel stop, some lunch, topping up my coffee and going for a pee or something like that. So in reality, it took 45 minutes longer to do it with an electric car. But as I say, you could, in some respects, maybe cut out one of those charges, which then brings the margin down a little bit. How much did it cost? Well, I've yet to get all the final kind of invoices in, because I pay for the different, there was the Porsche one through the Shell Recharge, which comes in at a later date. The Ionity and the Instavolt ones send me an email after I've already paid for them. So they were around about £50, just over £50. So let's say it's going to cost around about 75 quid. Let's say the Shell Recharge, let's say it's another £25 on top of that. So £75, that's probably a tank of fuel in a medium-sized car, like a Golf or a Focus or something. So, and which kind is about right, just under the 400 miles to a tank, maybe you could see that. Obviously with diesel you get more. So you'd argue then, well, where's the advantage then? Because it's taking you longer, and it's cost the same. Well, it has, but then, as I say, it's forcing me to make those stops, so I feel it's been a more relaxed journey. And then you've got to also take into account the wear and tear, or dare I suggest the lack of wear and tear, by using the EV. Obviously you're not using an engine, internal combustion engine, so you're not piling the miles onto it, and obviously you don't need oil and filter changes. And obviously there's the braking system, which is done through the motor regeneration rather than the friction brakes. So it all kind of balances out. Now, we're not EV evangelists, as this particular gentleman on YouTube points out. Anybody who drives an EV is an EV evangelist. We're not at AutoEV. We were road testers. We road test cars. But I was interested. I mean, I've been doing this trip for quite some time now with electric cars, and I was interested to give a balanced opinion, and that's why I wanted to do it. I'm not sitting here saying that the electric car is going to save the world. Of course it's not. But we know it's going to help. And I think by doing the trip today and by vlogging it, by diarising it, if you will, it's showing you that, hopefully it's showing you that you can do these things. And if you just plan a little bit more, and I'm not suggesting really planning, I'm not sitting for an hour before you leave, writing out everything. I'm just saying, just having it in the back of your mind, right? I know I need to stop there, and I can charge up there, and I can charge up there. And of course, I was fortunate today. I didn't have to wait anywhere. There was no queues at any of the chargers today. I just drove straight in, plugged in, off I went again. And that's not going to be the case every time. But it's been a good drive. I'm home. I was home in time to sit and have dinner with my family. I'm now sort of like home in time to look smug and pour myself a cider and sit here and just reflect on the day. And I just feel a bit more relaxed. It was just a more relaxing drive. Which brings me neatly onto the car, our Megane. Love it, absolutely love it. It's a really good car. It's very refined, it's very comfortable. Yes, I'd like it to do more miles. I'd like the range to be bigger on it. I think that's something that Renault need to look at, certainly as they move forward. And I am surprised at Renault, given the experience that they've got with EVs, especially the Zoe. And their other cars, they've been doing some EVs now for over 10 years. So I'm a bit surprised that it hasn't performed as well as I felt it should in terms of efficiency and range. However, in terms of the way the car drives and it performs on the road, I can't fault it. I really can't. And as I said, I think that's part in the way that I feel when I've got home now, feeling quite relaxed and feeling quite kind of, not chilled out, but you know what I mean. I'm not exactly stressed out about the whole drive because it is such a nice car to drive, and it is so relaxing. And I say those speeds, 70, no higher than 74 at times on the motorway with the cruise control on, heating on. I wasn't doing an economy run; it was sitting in comfort driving mode all the time. So yeah, it works. All I'm just going to say is this: don't listen to the naysayers. It can be done, and it can be done really, really well. And actually, it's quite pleasant. Thanks for watching another slightly different episode of AutoEV. And obviously, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, then make sure you give it a thumbs up down below. Then also make sure that you subscribe as well. Like, comment, subscribe, that kind of thing. Comment on it. Do you do regular long runs in your EV? How do you find it? What's your experiences? Do you take them abroad? As I say, I haven't taken one abroad, but Rod did, our Cupra Born abroad. Let me know what your thoughts are on the charging infrastructure in Europe. Pricing, what's it like? Let me know. Social media. Remember, we're across all of the social media platforms as well. So Instagram, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of that kind of stuff. So make sure you're following us there as well, because that does help us. And if you've clicked on this video because it is a little bit different and you think this is the first time I visited AutoEV, what are these guys about? Stick on the YouTube channel. There's loads of videos on there, just car reviews, used car buying advice, twin tests, electric icon series, vans. There's some motorbikes on there as well. All it means for me to say is thank you once again for watching. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. I'm going to enjoy a well-deserved cider now, and I'll see you again next time. See ya.